Oh, welcome back, welcome back. This is a part 13 video and finding the difference using scientific notation, a pause and practice. I have two problems in this video of pause and practice. I'll have two more in part 14. So we have here, let's just jump right into it. Number one, 8.11 coefficient times 10 to the second power minus 2.11 times 10 to the second power. All right, and in problem number two, pause and practice, we have coefficient 2.22 times 10 to the second power minus coefficient 1.11 times 10 to the negative 1 power. Stick around. I'm going to go over the answers in just a moment. All right, welcome back to the pause and practice here in part 13 video. Here's the pause and practice number one. So since we have the same base and the same exponents, we can stack the two coefficients, 8.11 minus the 2.11. Remember, we got to keep these decimals lined up even in our answer. So 1 minus 1 is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. We keep these decimals lined up. And then we have 8 minus 2 is 6. So our answer is 6.0, or 6 times 10 to the second power. All right, here in the second example, we had coefficient 2.22 times 10 to the second power minus coefficient 1.11 times 10 to the negative 1 power. Now, the exponents are different. So I need to manipulate either the decimal in the coefficient 2.22 or manipulate the decimal in coefficient 1.1. I've decided, since we move the decimal to the left, you add 1, as you can see down here. I decided I'm going to move the decimal 3 times to the left. 1, 2, 3, creating a new coefficient of 0.00111. And because I moved it 3 times to the left, I can add 3 values to this exponential power of negative 1. So negative 1, you owe me $1, plus a positive 1, you give me the $1 back, you're back to 0. 1 plus 1 is 2. So now we have a new coefficient of 0.00111. We're going to stack up these values since we have the same base and the same exponential power of 2. I can stack up, keeping the decimals lined up, 2.22 minus 0.00111. I'd like to show that to you now. Okay, so we're going to subtract the two coefficients you see here, and we got to keep those decimals lined up. And I've just put my invisible zeros, right, as a placeholder. Of course, I do that as an instructor, but if you want to put whole zeros in here, you absolutely can. I'm just trying to show you there's invisible zeros, just like my invisible one video. If you haven't seen that, check it out. Invisible ones. It really clarifies a lot of things that are confusing in mathematics. So I want to show you here how you cannot take 1 away from 0, right? You cannot do that. So what you have to do is you have to borrow from the 2. Oh, my pen is dying. Oh my goodness, my pen is dying. And that turns it into a 1. And the 1 that you borrowed now turns that first 0 into a 10, right? So this is now 10. And I got to borrow from the 10, which turns it into a 9 and makes this other 0 a 10. I got to borrow from this 10, which makes it a 9, and then this 0 becomes a 10. Now I can go and I can subtract these values. Let me show you here. Okay, so you can see here, I borrowed from the 2, which turns it into a 1. The 1 I borrowed from the 2 turned that 0 into a 10. I had to borrow from the 10 to turn this 0 into a 10. And I had to borrow from this 10 to turn this 0 into a 10. Let's do the subtraction. 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 1 is 8. 9 minus 1 is 8. 1 from minus 0 is 1. 2 minus 0 is 2. Keeping the decimals lined up when you add or subtract. And 2 minus 0 is 2. Now I want to show you over here to the right. This is the same value. Okay, so 2.21889 times 10 to the second power is a correct answer. However, if you wanted to, see the number to the right of the 1 is an 8. That 8 is 5 or larger, so that means you can round that value of 1 up to a 2 that I'm showing you right here. So 2.22 times 10 to the second power is also an equal or equivalent answer. It just depends how detailed you want to get. Sometimes the scientists want to get very, very, very detailed in their answers. But you can round that 1 up to a 2 if the number to the right is 5 or larger. Remember, math is easy. Take it step by step. Please like, follow, share, subscribe, and stick around. I got 2 more pause and practice problems in finding the difference using scientific notation. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time.